Hello, hello, good morning. How is everyone on this um Friday? Friday? Is today Friday? I don't Yeah, it's Friday. I don't even know what day of the week it is. What's Oh man, it's been crazy, I tell you. I've been uh feels like I don't know, it feels like the month of July is gone already and I'm not ready for it. So, how's everybody today? I hope everyone's having a great day. I am having a very busy day. Actually, it's not very busy yet, but it's going to be very busy. Um, hmm, got some fresh hot coffee and it's burning every time I take a drink. I need to stop doing that. Oh, all right. Well, today and tomorrow actually are going to be the only 2 days I stream for a while because I'm going to be gone almost all of next week. Going to be at a conference in New Orleans, so I'm going to be not available for streaming because hotel Wi-Fi sucks. So I'm not even gonna try, and I don't want to carry all the stuff required to do a good stream or even a bad stream. I was thinking today, I'm like, well, what am I gonna do then if I'm not gonna stream next week? I didn't want to get too deep into something. Either something new. I've got a couple of new projects that I've been thinking about setting up. And I was like, I could start those, but I didn't want to start them and then have like a week off, and then I'm going to be available for a week, and then I'm going on a vacation with my family after that for a week. So it's like, I'm going to have 2 weeks off here in the next 3 weeks. So I was like, well, I need to do something different. And then I happened to get on this morning and I pulled up Twitch because I like to peek and see who's online. And I saw that Pirate Software is doing a game jam, and because I'm crazy and I'm going to be busy, I'm decided I'm still going to participate in it. It's only a 2-week jam, and it's meant to be just kind of a quick and dirty. And I was kind of thinking, well, I want to get back to the game dev stuff. I haven't done it much in a while, and I thought, well, this is a good way to kind of force my hand to get into it, to try to make something, figure out what I need to work on so I can work on that stuff. So that's what I'm doing. So I signed up. I registered for the game jam. And so then for today's stream and then probably tomorrow's stream too, I was going to start laying some groundwork so I can get started on that, because it starts next Wednesday. Yeah, 17th. So I'll be out of town, but I was gonna see, I might be able to work on it a little bit when I'm there, and then this whole next week I'll be home. So I thought, well, that'll give me an opportunity. I can just kind of like tightly constrain it, that kind of stuff, and hopefully I can get something. It is going to be interesting because it has to run in a browser, so I'm going to have to do a browser-based game. So I'm trying to like work through today the things that I need to do for setup. I pulled up, he's got a sample game design document, which you have to have. And then I was gonna go, let's see, I think I pulled up, is it his page? Yeah, I was sitting here looking at somewhere he's got a list or a link to a bunch of game engines. I'm inclined to stick with Godot or GameMaker because those are the ones that I've used in the past. So I don't think it'll be that big of a deal because both of those can export to a web. But I can do something where it's more of a, I want to say more low level, using something like a JavaScript library. What is it? Phaser. I've used Phaser before for something. Or maybe it came... No, that was separate. That wasn't in with something I did with GameMaker. But anyway, that's where I'm kind of going. That's what I'm going to spend my time today working on. Is I'm going to try to figure out what I need to do to get prepped. And then I will hopefully start working on getting some of my polished stuff up. And then I'll take the extra time if I kind of hit a dead spot. And maybe I'll run through a few like tutorial type stuff. I'm thinking since it's got to run on the web, it could be a very simple like a 2D platform game or something like that. So maybe I'll work on building something like that if I get a few minutes. That might be tomorrow. And then, well, I had a thought. I had a brain moment, and it was really good, and I lost it. Man, I was just gonna, if I have extra time, I was gonna spend some time spinning up some more of my improving some of my stream stuff. I've got some things that I kind of wanted to work on that are more infrastructure type things. Like I've got this weird thing where actually it's not a weird thing. I have animations that run when people chat for the first time. It's like, well, I don't want it to be like the first time every day because, you know, like I've got like my bot account that does it and my account. I'm like, I don't need those. It'll be like, maybe set it's like a week window or something like that. So I wanted to play around with some of that stuff a little bit. And then just general purpose, channel cleanup type stuff. Maybe do some enhancements to what I've got. Because, you know, it's time for things to evolve a little bit. So the next couple of days are going to be kind of chill stuff. I still need to spend a little more time finalizing my Discord server. I might do some of that too because I want to get that set up. So we will, yeah, we're just going to kind of take it easy the next couple days because I fly on Sunday morning. So I have today and tomorrow morning, but then I leave the house at like 5:30 in the morning on Sunday, and then I don't come back until Thursday. I don't know if I'll stream Friday because I gotta go pick my kids up, and then we're camping again, and then I'm home for a week, and then we're gone for a week in Colorado. So yeah, I'll have to definitely, well, that's actually what I should do. I should set up my vacation times. Can I do that here? I gotta remember how to do that. I'll do that before I forget, lest I forget the important things. Nope. Channel, here we go. Yeah, here we go. All right, so vacation mode starts on, oh, what? Weird that I can't change them. Oh no, there we go. Why didn't it? Oh, that's weird. I don't know. Let's see. Vacation is then through, realistically through then. And then, yep, there we go. Well, that was pretty painless, wasn't it? I guess gotta move things. I'm trying to close stuff off and trying to see why. Oh no, there we go. I didn't think YouTube was working, so. All right, it is. No worries. All right, sweet. Okay, let's see. Let's go back here and see. So yeah, it has to run in the browser. So I need to find browser exports. What on earth? I gotta. Oh, never mind. That's a. I saw a random screen pop up. It was a pop-up message from something else. But I don't have my browsers fully maximized on all my screens to utilize my space, and I have a window that's partially behind one of the screens, and it's small, but it was sticking out just a little bit because I have something up in the corner, but not all the way in the corner, and this one was, and it did a pop-up that came in front of my other ones, and I thought it was something coming up on like OBS or something, and it's like, hey, do you want to do this? I'm like, what? Like, what kind of crap is this? But no, it was something in the background, so I panicked for a minute. Oh, that coffee is just phenomenal this morning. Okay, no AI generated content. Boo. That's okay. I don't want to do that. I do think it would be fun, and maybe this is a project I should do, is I want to take like ChatGPT or some other kind of AI generation tool, and I want to use it to build something like a game. I think it would be cool to have it build a game, but not having it come up with the creative side of it. Like I write the story, I write how I want it to work, but then the effort is spent me trying to put it into AI to come out with code that I can compile and run. I think that would be neat because I with the goal in mind that I wouldn't be modifying the code, be trying to show. I think it would be really good to demonstrate how AI is not perfect, and it isn't ever going to be perfect to write code. I think that would be kind of a fun experiment, I guess it would be. I was gonna say experience, and I think it would be, but I think it'd be a fun experiment to have it build code. And I was thinking a game because then that's kind of innocuous. But then have it do something like that, where you tell it, here's what I need to do, and have it try to write the code. I think that would be interesting because it also, I think, would help trying to to see the breaking down of a problem. Because if you throw it like ChatGPT is like, write me an application to solve world hunger, it's never going to come up with anything, because that's a big ask. You have to break it down into its component parts, and so you have to think through the problem and come up with a solution potentially, but you're not doing any of the implementation. None of it. Like, it's all would be generated by AI, and not even the art, because you don't want to get into that copyright potential with having someone's art get stolen. But make it something that's very simple, something you could easily draw up some some like pixel sprites or something. I think that'd be really cool. I've got a lot of hair. I think my daughter came in and just like rolled her head across my keyboard because I have about 1 million of these fine blonde hairs that are about a foot long or longer on my keyboard, and there we go. Could not get them to come out. So I think that would be kind of a cool thing. That might be a side project thing, is develop it with the intent of, and using it specifically to show how AI is not gonna take over the world, right? Especially when it comes to development, how it's never gonna hit the mark exactly. That might be interesting. I could even have it come up with dialogue, like tell it what I want it to say, but it's like write the dialogue for, and then have it come up with the words to put in. Because I've even noticed that if you try to have it come up with words like writing a paper or something like that, sometimes the language it uses just doesn't make sense. That could be fun. I'm gonna actually grab my notebook. I think that would be an interesting endeavor. I'm gonna say an AI created content example. And maybe even try to tell it, like, pick the best language or framework to build it in. Have it start with that and then just run with it, right? I think that would be interesting. All right, so anyway, this is the one that I created, my design document. My intent was just to, I probably won't take too much out of it right now. So my project goal. Let's look at this. So it starts on the 17th. So I'm going to be out of town. So my goal would be, if I could spend the 17th, the 18th, maybe part of the 19th, working through the design document. And I don't know if I'll do any of this on stream. I might do some of it on stream on the 19th, just like a recap. And then I'll be gone if I stream on the 19th. I don't know if I will, because I'll have gotten home, and then I need to go pick my kids up. So that may not happen. It may be a short stream. We'll see. And then have the design document kind of laid out, so that way I have essentially this week here to develop a prototype, a working prototype. And I will try, if I don't get it done, I'll try to take it with me on our camping trip to Colorado and work on it with the intent of trying to get it submitted on the 31st, but I have no idea what my internet's going to be like. The facilities that we're staying at does have internet, but I don't know if it'll be good enough internet to develop anything. Hopefully it'll be good enough to submit my game design document. So we'll see. Excuse me. So, right. So I can come up here and I can put in a little bit of, what do I want to put here? I need to say platform. This game is developed to be played in a browser window. In a browser. Not a browser window, just in browser. And then I was going to look at Game Maker Studio. I used to have it. I linked up my Steam account, and apparently I don't anymore. I thought I did. And I probably do have, but it's an old version of Game Maker, so I won't probably worry too much about that. But I wanted to find somewhere. I thought that he had a, isn't there like a something tools database? Because I think that's a website, right? DB. Engines. Go explore your options. That's it. Engine database. Yeah. Okay. Don't you have like dark mode? Let's see. Genre. Publishing platform. Oh, Nintendo 64. What do they have? LibDragon? Heck yes. That would be fantastic. No, I need web. What do we got for web options? Got a lot. I mean, I'm not surprised. Yeah, Phaser. That's the one. I've used that one before. Oh, I need to take a quick break. I need to run upstairs for a moment, and then I will come back to this. We will go on a quick break and BRB. Alright, I have made it back. Nope, I hit the wrong button. Actually, I think I hit the right button, but I hit it too hard, or it didn't hit it square enough. That's what I did. Okay. I don't even know what the difference is. Alright, so let's see what it came up with. Some options. Ooh, visual novel creator. Nice. Adventure game studio. GDX. Alright, so it looks like there's quite a few options. Ooh, WebAssembly. Ooh. Funny that Godot doesn't make this list. Oh, no, it is. It's right there. I'm like, it should be there, right? Okay, so we got quite a few choices here that we can pick from. So can I save? Yeah, I can save this because this will open open up with the filters already applied, it looks like. Did it? It did. It did not. Yeah, no, it did. It did. We can have it be basic. Oh, I'm not doing that. That's ridiculous. All right, so I'm gonna take this link then. I'm gonna put it in here. I'm gonna put a bracket here and say TBD. Here it's gonna be what? A list of other engines. And I shouldn't have it make. I should check the price model to be any, because I've got access to things like RPG Maker and stuff like that. It doesn't make the list that much bigger, so I don't plan on paying for anything by any means. But there might be something that I've already paid for that. Because I also have like RPG in a box. I think I got that from a Humble Bundle. But I don't think you can do that on the web. Okay, yeah. So we got some options there. So I've got that kind of baked in. What other rules are there? Do not attempt to sabotage if you... Okay, must run in a browser. You can only use assets you have commercial license for. That kind of all makes sense. That's pretty basic. It's going to focus on playability, and it's only 2 weeks, so it is meant to be an actual prototype, a very limited working copy. But it has to be playable, so that makes sense. As a browser upload here on itch.io. The reason this, so it has to run on itch.io. So that is the thing you have to be able to get it to work here. I guess if it's just a browser page, it's probably fine. IOP. Yep, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna give it a try. Gonna keep in the game jam. I think so. It's gonna be a tough go because it's only 2 weeks, but we're gonna see. This is all like to run games. Even if I just go to their webpage, if they have. Just call them, yeah, call them work, say I'm gonna be out for 2 weeks. Yeah, you know, I probably could, and I probably could get away with it. Just like, I'm just not gonna work for 2 weeks. Like, ah, it's fine, you have 4 weeks vacation, it's fine. HTML, you have a zip. Oh, I can make it in Flash. There we go, that's what I'm gonna do. You have a zip or HTML file that we play in the browser. Okay, that's all it needs to be. Pfft, no problems. No problems. Let's see. Yep, that's it. Put in here HTML export. We'll get rid of all this crap because I know I'm not doing any of that. Let's see, none of that's gonna be all that will update once I figure out this stuff. Let's see. Page 1. Lua or C++, because those are such common programming languages. Oh my god, I gotta check that out. Oh. Samples. Read. Save. Actually, that's all I care about. I just want to see the code. Gross. It is very much C++. Oh, there's Lua. Disable. Oh. I don't know what it's supposed to be doing. Oh god, that's what it's supposed to be doing. Oh, I crashed through the car. Ah! Okay, cool. All right. I'm just playing. I should stop doing that. All right. So we've got... I feel like I should put these rules in here. Well, I guess I should look and see. They don't have anything. There's nothing in here about like the constraints of the system. I mean, there will be. This is the right one. All right, well, I think I'm kind of just sitting with just that for now, so I might as well just start playing around with some options on how to export. So we will start with the one that I've already got downloaded, and we'll do Godot. I'll just create a simple one and see if I can just create a little platformer game. I cannot save a project into the selected path. Oh, new game project. Well, let's see. How do I create a direct? How do I create a folder? There we go. 2024 Jam practice. I'm gonna call it 2D platformer. Forward plus can scale, uses rendering by slower rendering of simple scenes. Supports desktop, mobile, and web platforms. That's what I want. All right, here we go. Why did you come up? I don't know what you. Let's see. Weird. I click on this and the icon on here blinks because that's what's running. What if it's a Windows 11 thing? All right, let's create a 2D scene. Let's create a new folder. We'll call it scenes. Folder name is valid. Okay. We'll do that. I'll have. What do I want to have? Actually, I'll create them as I need them. So I want to have. We're gonna call this. Oof, man, I'm rusty. Level 1. And add a child node. Control. No, that's like UI interface stuff. Collision shape 2D. Turn my fan back on. Right. I want it to be an area 2D. Excuse me, man. Level, I can do some stuff, can't I? Oh, I thought that did it. Oh, okay. Collision shape 2D. resource for it. Rectangle. Oh, well, thank you very much for the raid. Try something dev. I was looking at my little pop-up here, and I was not getting that because my font is not good. I thought it was much harder than that. Appreciate the raid this morning with 7 people. Thank you very much. How are you doing? Have a good stream today, I take it? I hope. I am. I'm going to be hoping to do the game jam. I was saying a little bit earlier, I've got kind of a busy next couple of weeks, but I'm going to try to crunch something in just to mostly just do it. I think is the going to be kind of the way to go. Because if not, I'm going to just say, oh, it feels like I'm just making excuses all the time. So yeah, appreciate the follow, by the way, too. That's awesome. So yeah, I'm going to be trying to knock out a game jam. It starts in just under a week, 5 days. So I'm going to hopefully get something. I'm hoping to have just, even if it's just like the dumbest prototype ready to go, I want to get it submitted to say that I've done it and put it under my belt as the first one. And so I've been working through a little bit some of the things like getting my design document prepared so I can fill it out. What languages do I use in my day job? Well, that's a great question. I use a lot. Most of the time I'm a .NET developer. I've been working in software development pretty much my entire life. I've been programming since I was 5 years old. Wrote my first program in BASIC on Apple IIs. Oh, awesome. Same. Yeah. So I do a lot of C#. My current job that I've been working at now for, man, almost 20 years. It's actually 17. When did I start? 17 years. I have been doing .NET web-based development. So ASP.NET, using languages like a lot of VB.NET, C#, a lot of JavaScript. Those are the primary languages. Yeah, database stuff. Excuse me. So yeah, lots of database, full stack app development is what I do. I work at a nuclear power plant, so I do a lot of things with some old tech. So I've written some Fortran, some C++, a little bit. I've modified a little bit of assembly on some older systems, like DEC computer systems, digital electronic company, VAX systems. They were VAXs. I modified a little bit of that, wrote some Fortran for those applications. And just like in my spare time, I still write code. I write in dozens of different languages, whether it's just different scripting languages, PowerShell, VB script, Bash, Perl, Python. I shouldn't say Perl. I don't like Perl. Python, that kind of stuff. So I've done a lot. I've dabbled in a lot of different programming languages, things like new stuff, Rust, Go, that kind of stuff. So yeah, I've done a lot. Hey, Shaky Coder, how's it going? So I've done quite a bit. Primarily though, my day-to-day job is full stack web development, using C#, SQL Server, some Oracle, some reports. I don't do Power BI. I've used it a little bit, but I don't do anything in Power BI. So yeah, so anyway, so one of my bucket list items is I've always wanted to develop some kind of a game, and sell it, like have something that I've made, even if it's $1 of sales to do. It's just that's something I've always wanted to do. I started off saying, hey, I wanted to put something out that could be downloaded. I've done that. I've created a couple of games actually for my daughter played when she was really little on an Android tablet. It was a simple game, and it was bad. Like, it wasn't great. And I that's it. I just kind of left it at that. So yeah, so that's where I'm kind of like doing this. I've been doing some of it on stream. I work a lot of side projects on stream. And it fluctuates quite a bit depending on the mood. Like right now I'm prepping for the game jam. I've done some side application development that I wanted, stuff that I've been interested in. I'm working on setting up some stuff with like my 3D printing. I do a lot of 3D printing on the side, and so yeah, I can do just, it's like variety code streaming, I guess is what it is. And so today, like I said, I'm getting prepped for the game jam here in 5 days, right? Yeah, 5 days. So I started coming up with some lists and of things that I need to do, and now I'm just kind of just doing some practice. I try to build a simple 2D platform game. The game jam is 2 weeks, so it's a very short window, because it goes from the 17th through the 31st, and so I'm gonna be in New Orleans most of this week, so I'm not gonna be able to do much the first 3 or 4 days, and then I'm actually gonna be camping with my family on the weekend, so I won't be able to really do any like heavy duty stuff until the 22nd, and then I have until the 26th, and then I actually go on vacation again with my family, like our big summer camping trip. So I'm really hoping I can slam it all into these days, and then have it be like polished so I can try to submit it while we're at a campground in Colorado. And hopefully I have good internet. I'm going with my father-in-law, and I'm trying to convince him to bring his Starlink internet, so at least we have good internet while we're there. So I can hopefully get it wrapped up here. But it is 2 weeks, and we'll see how it goes. We'll see. I guess it might be good, it might be terrible. I'm leaning more towards terrible, because if you've ever tried to like jam something in a couple of days, or like a short window, it never turns out great, right? I do appreciate it. You'll pay $1. I like that. That would be my bucket list complete. What am I doing? Oh, that's right. I was just trying to create something. Yeah. Oh, that's right. I'm trying to remember how to use Godot. It's been a little bit, and so I'm kind of slow here, trying to figure out how to do things. Okay, all right. So yeah, right now I'm trying to just get my head wrapped back around of the game development environments. I'm leaning towards writing it in Godot because that's where I have the most practice, which isn't a lot, unfortunately. So we will, I guess we'll see how it goes. It might be great, might not be. All right, so I got my collision. I thought that I had to material, texture, transform. Oh, collision. There's the collision stuff. That's what it is. Haha. That's right. The collision shape doesn't have the collision. It's the object above it. Okay. All right. So now if I wanted to add oh, well, thanks a lot for stopping by. I appreciate the raid and the follow again. Code job equals code jam. During the code job. Yep. No, I appreciate it. Have a great day. I will be here tomorrow for sure, and then that's when I'm gone again for a week. But yeah, no, appreciate the drop by, and like I said, to get on the raid. Have a great day, man. Oops. Let's add a new folder. Let's call it actually, what? I didn't want to do that. New folder. Resources. We'll call it resources. Let's see. I think I have. I'm gonna open up an old project because I don't remember where I've got the project, so I want to find the no, move that out of the way. I just want the folder. Oh, the folders aren't there. Why aren't the folders there? Huh? No, the project. Oh, maybe it's not there. No, it's there. I think it's just loading. Okay. Yeah, no, it's still loading. There it goes. I just want the graphics folder. Because this has not everything, but it's got a lot of the stuff that I want. Oh yeah, it's got some sound effects, but I wonder if I can just copy path. Open in file manager. That's what I want to do. That's what I really wanted. That's all I cared about. And then actually hang on, move that one to the side. I'm gonna change this to call it graphics just for consistency. And now open in File Explorer. And now if I take all of these, copy here. I shouldn't just copy them all, I know, but this is just testing, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Yeah, because it's like 1,000 objects. Oof. Excuse me. Gross. I am quite phlegmy and feeling a bit rough today. All right, so now I believe this will refresh. At least I thought it was going to. Oh, there it goes. It's loading. Okay, now it's importing assets. That's what I want. That's all I wanted to do. Is I wanted to import some of the assets. And probably find out that most of these aren't going to be useful. All right, so now we've got a bunch of things. What is this one? Oh, that's a... these aren't platformer ones. Let's create a folder here. Create a new folder. I'm gonna call it imported. Why is it scanning? Weird. Okay, so I'm gonna take these. I'm gonna move them into my imported folder, and then as I use them, I'm gonna take them out. That way I can delete them and make the game as small as possible in the end. At least that's the intent. Because a lot of these I'm not gonna use. Because, I mean, some of them are just crap. All right, well, that's running. I'm going to... I have a bunch of assets somewhere. I don't think it's there. Okay, it's taking a bit. Let's see. Humble Bundle. This is where I've done a bunch of this stuff. All right, here we go. Nope. That's my book library. Okay, I do have a bunch here I can use. Platformer game tile sets. Look at that. I'm going to take all of those. And I'm going going to copy them because those are running on my NAS. I don't want to, excuse me. I don't want to eat up all of that time. Uh-oh. We gotta wake up. All right. What am I doing? Oh, I have a full Humble Bundle library there. Projects. Temp. I don't have a temp folder. Temp. Well, luckily, these are pretty small. Some of these that I've gotten, excuse me, in the past are like massive. 12_Windows 13 tile sets. Okay. And so some of them, yeah, just like the size of them, because they have like original source files that are just huge. These ones are not, thankfully. Oh, because these are very simple. Okay. But I can't open them, apparently. Oh, never mind. It opened over here. Oh, yeah, I can be like a little gnome. Okay. I should be able to make most of these, something of these work, I think. Okay, oh, my door opened again. Hang on. Oh, Candyland. Candyland. Okay, so I've got a bunch of things here that I can bring in. I just don't know what I want. Man, what is happening? My phone was going a little crazy there for a second. Okay, let's go back here to temp. Here we go. We got some background pictures. I'll import these. We're gonna create a new folder here. We'll call it 2D platform. This is the one that I want here. All right, we're gonna use that background. That's gonna be the background for the 2 levels, potentially. All right, we'll do the tile sets. Okay, good. They even have the right colors. We'll bring both of those in. Preview 1. Oh, okay, cool. I like the trees too. We're gonna bring those in too. Actually, you know what? I should just do this. I'll just bring in the background folder and delete these two because they're somewhat organized. This will be my theme. The tile set 27. Yeah. These are, yep, those are the bigger source files. We'll bring in some of the platform elements as well. Okay. Platform tile set game. Background. Let's see, which ones have, why are those? Oh, it's PDF, not PNG. Let's see. Trying to find. All right. Well, they don't match up quite right, but we'll take this one and this one. Yeah, we'll take these two. We'll have foes and hero sprite sheet. All right, there we go. So now we got some sprites that we can use. We'll let Godot import them. That might make it a little bit easier than what I was doing. All right, background. Let's start with that one. Let's just throw it in. Let's scale this bad boy up. We'll do it like this. Hang on, can I? Go. All right, so this one, instead of it being a traditional left to right, then I'm gonna have it be a try to get to the top. So we'll have something at the top somewhere that you have to get to, whatever it might be. So we'll start with that. Let's pick up. Oh, the tile sets are separate sheets. It'd be nice if they were a tile sheet. That's okay. It'll be fine. So we'll create. We'll add a player. Player 2. Oh, no. Is it player? I thought it was player 2D. No. Node 2D. What's the name of the thing? Oh man, I swear it was a player 2D, but apparently it's not. Let's try to find. What is it? It's a character body 2D. Okay. Whatever. I must have missed it. Alright, so we'll create a character body 2D. We'll rename it to player. Yep. Except that I don't want to do it here. I remember that. I want to, we'll call this one, put it in scenes. We'll call it level 1. And I'm going to create a new scene. Scene 2D. I want it to be this. Character body 2D. I'm going to call this one player. Root name. See, names are lowercase. The root name is capitalized. Yep. Okay, so now I will add a sprite sheet, tile sheet. I think a tile map. 2D based tile maps. All right, this is gonna require a little bit of cheating because I don't remember how this all worked. Player. Let's close all this. So he's got a collision shape. This one, it was, oh, he's an animated sprite because I have all these different animations. Okay, so that one's different. Because that is a sprite sheet, so I'll do a sprite 2D. Can I just make him I want to take all of these and move them up here because I'm using all of them. Did that transfer correctly? It did. Nice. Okay. And to start with, I'm going to just take this one because it's just a picture. We're going to start with just a picture. Ah. Right, so now we're going to go back to the player. And put it on the sprite. All right, so there's the player. Oh, he needs a character body, right? Or not a character body. He is a character body. He needs a collision shape. Howdy, Captain Fubar. It starts on the 17th, which is what, 5 days? So we are currently preparing, or actually it's just really just practicing. I'm gonna try to get something drummed up just for some practice before we get, before it starts up, I guess, on Wednesday, right? Did I say Wednesday? It's in 5 days, so yeah, Wednesday. Wednesday, then it's 2 weeks. 17th to the 31st. Collision shape. Shape is gonna be, oh, he's a circle today. Let's leave that where it is. Oh, elbows and arms are sore today. Okay, so let's set that. I don't put the camera with him. I kind of, yeah. I don't know what it's going to be yet. Actually, I can pull it up. It is Pirate Software's Game Jam 15. It's going to have to be, it is limited to being web-based. So it has to run in a browser. So I am just kind of, I don't want to say I'm taking a gamble that it might be some kind of a platform. Maybe. I'm using a platformer just because that's a good simple thing to build, just to kind of get some more familiarity with some of the tooling of Godot, because I'm not very good at it. I'm not very good at most of them. So I thought, I'll start with a platform that's pretty easy to implement. I can knock it out, in a couple of days, hopefully, at least to get a basic prototype. mostly because I want to have something that I can practice the exporting to web and make sure that it works. So I have a bunch of choices. I've used Godot in the past, and I have it. So yeah, WASMs run as smooth as 3D web export. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I don't. Just the thought of using WebAssembly kind of makes me cringe just a little bit. Just because it's not my thing, but yeah, you're right. The 3D web export probably isn't going to be the thing, especially for a 2-week jam. But you know what? I mean, what was it? Minecraft came out of a game jam, right? Oh, thanks for the follow, Captain Fubar. I love your name, by the way. I just love it. Captain Fubar. Seems like a good description of my life sometimes. It's like, it's Fubar and I'm in charge here. I like it. I do appreciate that follow, man. It's been a good week on the follow count. I'm getting better, finally. Feels nice. It feels nice. You know, when I started doing streaming, I don't have any intent to, like, you know, quit my day job to stream. I'm doing it mostly because it's kind of fun. It's very, I don't want to say it's uncomfortable, but it's definitely outside of my comfort zone. But it incorporates things that I like to do. I like to talk, especially about tech, and I like to do things, I guess. So I like to solve problems, and as I've gotten older, I've discovered I enjoy, I don't want to say teaching, because I still don't really like to teach, but I like to sort of educate people. Yeah, more fun is always a good choice. So yeah, it's fun. It's fun, and you know, like I was telling my wife, I'm like, you know, if I get to the point where I get a little bit of side money out of it from like ad revenue and stuff, that's just bonus. I said, if anything, it just helps me upgrade my PC more frequently than, you know, like every 8 years or whatever it is that I do now. My computer is pretty new now, and I want to say that the computer I replaced was, yeah, it was probably 8 or 9 years old. I'm trying to think. My youngest son wasn't born when I built it. So yeah, it was probably at least 8 years, probably 9. My daughter is 10, and I think I had it built before she was born. So yeah, it was old, so you know, any extra is always nice. Let's see. I wanted to project settings, input map. Yeah. That's right. Good thing Godot is around. It does run on any potato, and that is exactly what my computer... Well, my computer now is not a potato. Not quite as much of a potato, but my old one definitely was. And when I first started using it, I was building an app, or I was building a game for my daughter to play on, and it had to run on this... It was an Android... Was it Android? Yeah, it was an Android tablet. And it was the textbook definition of a potato, because it was one of these, like, oh, it was like a DVD player tablet combo thing, and someone had given it to us, or we had bought it. I don't remember how we got it. And it was intended to be something that we could watch movies on while traveling, because we were doing some, we've been doing these family vacations with my wife's family where we go to national parks, and sometimes it involves, you know, some stays in a hotel room and things where it's like, well, it could be boring. So we thought, oh, well, we'll have this little tablet thing that can play DVDs, and we can just carry it with us. Well, it lasted for like 2 DVDs before the DVD player broke on it. And so then now it's this really low end, you know, Android tablet that really sucks. So I built a little game for her to play on called Unicorn Pop. It has this little unicorns popping on the screen. You just tap them and they go, you know, pop, you know, made a sound. And if you cleared them all, it went like, hooray, you did it. And then it restarted. That's all it did. But it was a game, and it was fully functional. I don't think I put it in the App Store, though. I think I just sideloaded it. But But you're right, Godot is great. I used some Game Maker Studio. I think I used Game Maker Studio. I converted it to a Game Maker Studio project, my Unicorn one, because it is actually in the Microsoft Store. Because she upgraded to a little touchscreen PC and I loaded it in the App Store. Yeah, when I converted it to Windows, I used Game Maker Studio mostly because at the time, what was it? There was something that I was trying to do, and getting it to integrate to the Windows or the Microsoft Store was very painful. And I can't remember what it was now. And I was struggling to get it, and I couldn't make it work consistently, and it was a lot of manual effort, and I'm like, I don't want to do this. It was like compile it, set some stuff up, then I had to sign it and do all these things. It was very manual, and something didn't work right with Godot, and I tried to do it manually, and I was like, this is not working. And I converted it to Game Maker Studio because I had a Game Maker Studio 1.1 license or something like that. And it was all simple enough that I was able to just recreate it. The script to run the things was pretty simple, and Game Maker Studio, it worked. It did all of the packaging and signing, and it all came out correct, so I could just upload it, which was kind of nice. But mostly, I didn't want to have to go through the manual steps. And now that I've done more of that kind of stuff, I probably could have gotten away with it, but that's been a while. So, but it was a good experience. I really enjoyed it. And that's kind of what sparked the desire to write games. Like, I would love to get good enough and fluent enough where I could just kick out a couple of games. In my mind, I want to build games that are fun, but aren't expensive, or free or very inexpensive, because I don't like spending a ton of money on games. So getting to the point where I can just create some simple-ish games, I thought would be kind of fun. And things that my kids would like to play, would play with me or watch me play, or I would watch them play. Those are the kind of games that I'm kind of interested in making. Family oriented, I guess, is what I was thinking. Let's see. Whoa, cool. That's what I wanted. Can I copy these? Please tell me I can copy these. I can't. I was hoping I could just copy them from another one. Oh, and avoiding tech obsolescence, the throwaway stuff just because it's that is just old. Yeah, I don't. So I call myself a pack rat, and that's not a fair statement, because I don't keep things just for the sake of keeping them. I don't keep mementos or that kind of stuff. But I hate getting rid of something that still has purpose. And even simple things like that old tablet. I have it somewhere. I think I actually have it set up so it's mounted on the wall, because it still runs and it can still do things. I had it. What was it doing? I think I just played music. That was all it was. If it can still be used. And I always it's always a balance. Can I sell this to someone that can get good benefit out of it? Yeah. Or as a stream deck. Yeah. Right. That's a good idea. And it's if I can sell it to someone or give it to someone that gives them good value, could be very useful for them, I totally just get rid of it, give it to them, sell it to them, whatever. But then if it's something like this old tablet that it's nobody wants it, when it came out, it was probably only $100 device anyway. It's well, I don't want to just throw it away. If I can come up with something turn it into a stream deck or do something with it that's different, right? I can come up with something to use it for, then I'm totally going to use it. Old isn't a thing. It's whatever its value is. I always measure something based on the value it can add to my or someone's life. And because of that, I have tons and tons of old things. But yeah, making a stream deck in Godot, that's an interesting idea. I follow a lot of guys on Twitch that do a lot of things in Godot, overlays for their streams and stuff, and I've never really considered that could be a thing. It totally makes sense. But as like I said, I'm a .NET developer, and so my mind goes well, I would build that in .NET, or I would build that as a web page, and then wrap it up. But it's like, but I could totally do it in Godot. It's an interesting idea. Now I'm thinking like maybe instead of a Stream Deck, because I have a Stream Deck, but I have a ton of like smart lights. Yeah, just push a button. I'm thinking like I could have it. So I'm in the process of behind my office back here. I have a room that we're turning into like a home theater, like a poor man's home theater. And I've got some smart lights that I put in there, a Wemo dimmable light switch, and then we were gonna run some like LED light strips or something like that. I could totally use it for that. Build something for that device that can run that's really low end. And yeah, scene switching, changing the colors, setting the lights, configuring it for like movie watching or like theater watching and that kind of stuff. And put it on this old tablet. That's a fun idea. That one's going on my list too. I like this idea. That could be fun. And that would be a really good practice job for using Godot. I like it. I'm writing it down. Put it on my official list of scrap paper. To make a low memory and CPU usage, use API. Could use Go. Yeah, that's true. I mean, doing like the back end stuff like that with the API, I have plenty of infrastructure in my house to do that. I mean, I already have a really high end server that could run. There's even a Godot available if you need a Godot UI. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. Old. All right, I like that idea. And that's cool. I don't know a lot. I don't know Go very well. I shouldn't say that very well. I've written some stuff in Go. But that'd be a good thing to try. It's good thinking. I like it. I really do. I really like it. I love trying new things. I think I need to have like try new thing Fridays when I'm streaming where I just try something new. Uh-oh, I got another incoming. All right. Let's see. Man, still super phlegmy though. Oh, that's interesting. I mean, I use the C# extension, or the C# backend for Godot. I shouldn't say, I've done both. I've done their GD script and their C# backend. I like them both, I guess. Yeah, C# is definitely the official one, and I was kind of interested in that. It is official, but it's definitely like playing second fiddle right now because it's not quite. I don't want to say it's not quite functional because it is totally functional. The documentation's a little bit weaker, and there's less people using it. So, you know, if I hit something, I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Or what I'm doing something that's not quite right, and trying to like search on it is a little bit harder. I've spent a lot of time on some of my other stuff, like looking at how I implemented in GD script and say, all right, how do I get to that or something similar in C#? And it's a little bit of trial and error. It's not bad. I actually kind of enjoy that. The act of trying to solve the problem is fun. Yeah, the official plan is to be supported through GD extensions. That's cool. I think it's cool. I think that having the system set up to support just about any programming language takes down a ton of barriers, simply because there's a lot of people that may want to use it that are scared because some people are intimidated to learn a new programming language. I don't. I enjoy doing it. I've written programs in like 30 different programming languages or more. I don't even know. I don't keep track anymore. But when I get an opportunity and some free time, I'll just go. I used to have like this standard template of apps. I had 2 apps that I would write in any language I wanted to learn. And I always found that to be pretty fun. I should try to like brush that back off and see if I can find it. Because that was kind of a neat, it was just 2 very simple apps. One that was interactive and one that was like an automated, what did it do? it copied files. It was a backup. I used it as for backups, where you could set a config file and it would run on a schedule and it would decide which files needed to be copied and that kind of stuff. So it did batch processing, did a lot of file IO, some memory handling with some lists and some logic. And then the interactive one, I honestly don't remember what the interactive app would do. It connected, I think, to a database, maybe SQLite. I don't remember what it did now. It's been too long. Many tribal attributes exists in engineering. Stick to the one you've learned, but you agree the tool allows you to use a familiar language and ease you into trying others. It is a win all around, and I do have a problem typically with the stick to what you know and stick to what you've learned, because especially in tech and programming in general, it's like, yeah, I can write in C++ and I can do anything in C++. Like, right? That's just, it's a general purpose programming language. I can do anything, but it's a tool. Programming language is a tool, and I'm a handy do-it-yourself person, and I have thousands of dollars in tools at my house. And sometimes you need there's a better tool for a job. It's like I could build a web application. I can make it work in C# or C#, C++. But I don't need to. There are better tools to solve that problem. It's the same for everything. A great example at where I work, I said I work at a nuclear power plant. We have some old systems, very old systems. They were VAXs, and we were sending data back and forth between them using TCP, just because that's what they had. We were sending data, and we had an app where we were pulling down data for archiving, and the data they were sending, we had to get the data, we had to package it up in the right order. It was order specific. It was very it needed to be in the right order. We'd write it to a file, hash it, do some verification on it, and then they would save it, and then we had a tool that would read it in. It would create charts and stuff based on the data. And the thing that we had was we needed to burn to a CD. We have a requirement. It's state of Nebraska type crap. We have to put it on a CD. And the Microsoft .NET libraries for writing CDs doesn't work well in VB.NET. And the original tool that we used to move the data was VB.NET. And we're like, okay, well, then maybe we rewrite it in C#. Well, rewriting in C# had its own problems, and we actually hit a hard stop where we couldn't do it. And then we had the discussion, and it's like, yeah, well, it's funny you mention that, because you're right. CDs don't have longevity, but we duplicate the CDs every couple of years. I know it sounds dumb, but currently the state of Nebraska, the law around official records and retention doesn't allow us to use anything but paper or CDs. That's not true. We can have microfilm and that kind of stuff, but when the data is very yeah, right, use stone. Right. Well, we do have stuff that we used to archive that we printed, and I mean, it was like so we work in a power plant, and we have a system that monitors, somewhere around 2,000 to 3,000 different devices. I call them devices, but they're alarms. And every time one of them changes, it sets off the alarm in our control room, and it generates a record. It generates a log. We call it an annunciator, right? It says, hey, something changed. It used to be every 2 years we would go and we would print all of those, right? We would say, all right, we'd go dump the database. It was a SQL database. We'd bring it back to our desk, and we'd generate a report, and we would print it. And it'd be 3,000 pieces of paper, like sometimes more. I mean, it's every annunciator we get in 2 years, which is, I don't even know the number because I've never actually counted them. I just know that I helped carry the boxes of paper to our document control people, our records people, and say, hey, this is going to be dumb, but I just printed all this paper. Now I need you to scan it into microfilm and then throw away all the paper. Can you do that? And they go, oh yeah, not a problem. We'll do that. And then we have film of it. And we finally got to where we weren't doing that. Thank God. Because I mean, we broke high capacity printers trying to print all that paper. Part of the new technique of CDs, DVDs allow you to store data in layers, capacity almost to petabytes. Wow. Yeah, well, that's cool. But I've used dual layer DVDs where it does kind of do that layering. And I tell you what, those things are the most inconsistent when it comes to like using it, that it makes me nervous. Like, it's great that I can fit a petabyte of data on this disk, but I don't know, it makes me nervous. It needs to be like Crystal, where it's like impossible to break, write once, and it's always there. Can I? A. Okay. So we got left and right. D. And we'll say jump. Star Trek time is almost here. Storing data in crystals. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's technically possible now. I think I read an article where they were at one time using, was it quartz and lasers, and they were cubes, right? I think that's right, where they were having in there, and the data was still written very similar to the technology is very similar to CDs, where you're shooting a light through it, and excuse me, and the way they, maybe it wasn't pure quartz, it was something they manufactured, because it had something in the material that if you use the right color of laser, it could burn right into it, and it could create it was writing, but it was like super slow, right? But when it was all said and done, yeah, you could take the thing and go hit it with a truck, pull it up, polish off the edge, and you could still read it, right? I always thought that'd be cool, like coming up with a legitimate long-term data storage that is virtually indestructible, that is, I want to say digital-ish, would be like the biggest revolutionary thing that we've ever seen, right? I mean, I know we have technology that can store stuff now, but everything's very fragile. CDs can break, tapes can disintegrate if held in bad storage. Hard drives, if they don't spin, they break, right? They're dependent on things to be functional. And I think back to a book series that I've read. Oh God, I just started them again. The story goes, there's this, they call it a biodigital plague. Essentially, there's this plague that kills off like 80% of humanity. And as a result of that, almost all of human knowledge was lost. It like kicked humanity back to the Stone Age, and have a resistant storing medium. And what they did was they found what they called a data arc, like 5,000 years after this happened, and they were able to read it to get data. And I'm like, we don't have anything today that can do that. Yeah, you still have to have some kind of a tech around to read it. It's like, it's probably be a tiered system, right? You have to have something that's very non-tech to get started to read something, so you can build something that's low tech that can read some more, that can build you something that's even more high tech, and then kind of build your way up to it. But that's the kind of weird stuff that plays through my brain before I go to bed at night. Like, how would I design such a system? I think about the gold record on the Voyager probes, right? Yeah, it's like, imagine a time capsule that got buried with 5¼ inch discs. You mean like 5¼ inch floppy disks? I have one. Ooh, no, I don't have a 5¼ floppy. 5¼ floppy disk. Need that opened? Don't drink all of these, because we're gonna take them camping with us.
I'm out of hair, I stuck my tooth.
Alright, there you go. Oh, I got it on me. Nothing. Yeah, we actually, when I was still working when I first started working at the power plant, we had those 5¼ drives. Those were running that Annunciator system that I was talking about. They ran from the floppy drive. They are very difficult. And like I said, ours, they were PCs the operating system ran on the disk on the floppy, and we had a PM every couple of years. We had to go and write the OS to new disks, because even sitting there running and reading the whole time, they disintegrate, they deteriorate. And if we rebooted the PCs, sometimes they wouldn't read the disk. And we had some dedicated hardware, and I mean, we spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars buying, these packs of discs, finding brand new ones that were still good. And yeah, the disc readers, we sent some off to get remanufactured. We do. We still do some long-term storage format on tape, yes. But that's not good enough for official records, state records. Like anything we say is a record of compliance or anything. So like all of our business network stuff, we do have tapes. Or we did. I don't know if we do it. I'm sure we do at some point. I know some of our isolated systems do. But yeah, we can't use the tapes as document storage for official documentation, because the state of Nebraska is old. Nebraska records retention, record retention requirements. Maybe this is what it is. Yeah, compliance is always a headache. I don't know if it's gonna be hard to find. But it is there's a state set of rules of what is considered a valid record, and it is, and they've tried a couple of times to modernize it. And I don't know whatever happens to it. I think it's always been decided that it hasn't been important enough to push forward through legislation, because for the most part, most places most places have records that go back 5 years. And that's it. After 5 years, they can purge it. Unfortunately, I work at a nuclear power plant. We have records that have to be kept for the life of the unit. And we just hit 50 years, maybe this month. It might have been July 1st. So my facility's been operating for 50 years. So we have 50 years of records. And so, yeah, when you talk about long-term storage formatting, and it's like paper, microfilm, CDs, and then we have to go and just copy them every couple of years to make sure they maintain, and be like, oh. So we have a whole department of people dedicated to managing our records for us. And yeah, you're right. It is a headache. It is a painful headache. And I don't even know if there's a way around it. It is a long time. And some of our records are life of plant, period. So when the plant ends, we no longer have to keep them. But then we have like life of plant plus 5 years, life of plant plus 10 years. I think that's it. I think it's 10 years. I think life of plant plus 10 years. And our license is good for another 11 years. And we are currently starting the process for a license extension request for another 20 years on top of that. So we're looking to be a 75-year running plant. And that's a lot of records to keep track of. That's a long time to hold on to that stuff. And we generate a lot of compliance paperwork, a lot. So something will have to change at some point. But I won't get it figured out. Somebody will get it figured out. Somebody that's way smarter than me, more, I don't want to say technically knowledgeable, because I mean, I kind of get it, but someone will figure it out. Somebody, not me, because that's not my forte. I mean, I would say tapes. Put it on a tape. Keep it on disk storage or something. Keep it in 2 different formats. As long as it's still good, it's fine. All right. Level 1. Let's put our player in. I want to add the player. Hey, my player's here. Go player, dude. I want to add a camera around the player. Seems reasonable enough. All right. Oh, okay. Oops. Yep, the 3-2-1 backup methodology. Yep, three copies, 2 different media, 1 offsite. Yep, I'm a fan of the rule of 3. I call it the 3-2-1 as the minimum. I do that with my personal stuff, and even at work, I try to follow that methodology. When I was a network administrator there, we definitely did a lot of that. My wife thinks I'm crazy because I back up all of our devices. A lot of our stuff is saved on my NAS, and then my NAS is backed up to a USB hard drive that I have sitting at my desk. And then I take that drive and I take it to our bank and I put it in my safe deposit box where I replace the other backup that I have from like a week or 2 ago. And then I bring it home and I back it up, and then I take all of those backups and I replicate them to a cloud storage. Actually, I just deleted the cloud storage because it wasn't updating anymore, or it was updating, but I changed because I started using OneDrive, and I have just ungodly amounts of storage on OneDrive, and so I stopped paying for my my S3 bucket where I was putting stuff. So my rule of 3 is getting a little weak, but do you imagine the redundancy is too much until you need it? Absolutely. I have a story about this. Let me pull up. Let's pull up this. We'll draw a little picture. So when I used to be the network administrator at my facility, and as a network administrator, we had, as a company, we had switched pretty much straight up to VMs at a VM farm running on a SAN, right? So we had a storage area network. I still need to get like a pad to do this because I can't write. So we had a SAN. It had it was a fairly new system. It was made by IBM. It had 3 or 4 disk arrays in it, something like that. And then we had it running on VMware on 6 servers, 6 physical IBM, 5 or 6 IBM servers. So these are the servers, and they were all resident in memory. So the hypervisor booted on the network. They were not blades. This was before blade servers were much of a thing. They were physical IBM 3560 M4s. I spec'd them, so I remember that. 200 and maybe 256 gig of RAM. No disks. These had no disks in them. They booted, they PXE booted. We had a master server that would load the VMware hypervisor onto it, and all the disk storage was on the SAN. We had somewhere around 70 virtual machines that ran across these systems, from DHCP, backup Active Directory servers. We had one physical one, but then we had like test database servers, a whole bunch of stuff. Most of our production environment ran off this system, all of our disk storage. And then one day, I was no longer the network administrator when this happened. The SAN died, the entire thing. Not just died, catastrophic failure. I remember I was sitting in training, and the guy who was giving the training had a PowerPoint slide that he was running from a network drive, and it died. And it's me and my buddy who was my counterpart in business apps at the time. They're like, "Hey, IT people, what's wrong?" We're like, reboot it. Like that's the typical IT answer. We all kind of laughed. And he's like, "Okay, well, I'll do it. We'll take a break." He restarts the computer. Computer comes up. He goes to log in. He types in his username and password. He gets that dreaded, what's the message when you can't join, when you can't find the domain controller? It's like unable to connect to a trusted domain source. And we're like, I remember looking at him. I'm like, that's not good. Like, what's happening? And so then he was getting all these. So we told him, said, "Oh, okay, well." I can't remember. I told him I managed to log in using a local account, and I got to look, and I'm like, oh man, there's no network. or there is network, but there's no IP address, and we can't get an IP address. And I remember telling my buddy, and I'm like, something bad has happened. And about that time, we have a Gaytronic system. So over the announcement, my supervisor comes on, and he said, we've lost our storage area network. All systems are currently unavailable. And I looked at him, I'm like, oh, this is bad. And so we finished our training. I went back, I'm talking to my supervisor, and everything was gone. All the servers, all the network drives, DHCP, DNS, just gone. And I'm like, what happened? And we're like, we don't know. Just it stopped, and they just stopped working. I'm like, well, first like, well, is it VMware? Like, no, the VM servers are up and running. They can't connect to the drives. They don't see any disks. I'm like, oh my God, like what's happening? So the SAN was made by IBM. We had a 24/7, 4-hour response time from IBM. We called them. They had a tech come down. No, yeah, not quite. The IBM tech comes down and they're working through these troubleshooting. He goes, oh, all indications say that you had one of your controllers that sits in the back of these things. There's 2 of them. Actually, there's 3. I'm sorry. There's 3 controllers that run the SAN. And they run in an N+1. So you can lose one, you have to have 2 available. And he's like, one of these has become corrupted, and it is causing the other 2 to not take over. Like, it was the primary, it died, but it's not reporting that it's failure, like it's running. He's like, so these 2 don't know that there's a problem. And he's like, I've seen this happen. We can fix it. It's pretty easy. He's like, we'll just shut everything down gracefully. And then he had a procedure, and we walked through it, and it seemed solid. Like, he was like, basically they're bringing the system up 1 blade at a time, or 1 controller at a time, and you can figure out which one's dead, right? Because if you plug one in and turn it on and it doesn't come up as red, then you know that one's busted and you take it out. We did all this. They all came back dead. I'm like, what? Like, nothing was wrong with it. So we're sitting there and we're troubleshooting and we're going through this, and we're talking like 16 hours into the day, right? And then he's on the phone with his supervisor, some guy in Texas, right? He's like the guy who designed the blade system, or the storage system on these things. And all of a sudden he goes, oh, well, that could be bad. And he gets on speakerphone, and this guy's talking. He's like, okay. He's like, I've got 1 more test and then potentially very bad news. And I'm like, okay. He's like, we're going to try this thing. And he walked through it. I'm like, okay, what's the bad news? And he's like, I have seen this one other time where these blade controllers for the disk system gets corrupted and overwrites all of the storage data on your disk array. All of it. And we're like, what does that mean? He's like, everything that's on that SAN will be garbage. It will be overwritten, and it's probably been overwriting for the last 16 hours. And we're like, oh my God. It turns out that's exactly what it was. Cards died, flashed all the disk drives to 0, like just erased everything. Yes. And so afterwards, we got it all back up. I mean, it was a whole weekend. It was Cinco de Mayo. I remember that because we went home that night. I went to the Mexican restaurant. I had a few beers. I drank some stuff. I went with our manager and some of the other people that had helped work. We had a pretty, we were kind of like, okay, so what do we do? And I get a call at midnight from my boss. He says, hey, you're going to have to start coming in. We got to start doing 24-hour rotations. And I'm like, oh, geez, I had like 5 beers. You know that, right? That's not true. I was fit for duty. Got to be careful about that. And so anyway, we go through this post-mortem, and we do a root cause analysis, and we find out that this had happened 6 times in the past. That's it. It was a 1 in, I'm going to get the number wrong, but it was like 1 in like 800,000 man hours, or what do they call it, cycle hours, that they had seen this happen. IBM had never been able to identify the problem, and they had only seen it 6 times. Yep, and it was still in use. And the systems were new. I mean, it was a V7000, I think is what it was. Relatively new, brand new to us, like maybe a year and a half old. And yeah, it was just the IBM, like I was talking to this guy from IBM, the designer of this system, and he's like, he said, I have 2 of these systems running all the time in a test environment, and I've never been able to have it fail on me again. It's like they're running in full debug mode. I can't recreate it because it takes 800,000 hours to generate the error. Statistically, that's what they figured. And it's like, okay, well, that sucks. And so we went through that whole process. I worked pretty much nonstop for 5 days to help restore the systems. We got everything back up and running. We got our backups. The biggest learning from all of this is all of our restoration documentation was stored on a network share that was on the drive system that failed. So we had a lot of learnings that came out of that related to redundancy, and I became a huge fan of solid pieces of paper that print out with documentation and passwords and keys. And so now we have a fireproof safe in our office, one of these bomb-proof ones that has this folder that's probably this thick. That's all of our super critical stuff, like encryption keys and certificate keys, so that we can recreate everything manually on paper. Yeah, and we took that V7000 and we replaced it a year later. We replaced it at less than 2 years old. Yeah, absolutely. Paper is king. Because when we were going through this, I was talking to my supervisor. I had just left the network administrator position maybe 10 months prior to that. The new administrator, who isn't very good at her job, had taken over. It was very new. And I had told my supervisor, I had just gone through this huge initiative to standardize our restoration process and document it all. And I put it all in the network drive. That was my fault. And I'm like, I can do this. Like, it's still all in my head. I can get it. I can figure it out. I can rebuild all the systems. And I did. I was able to sort of type out the documents that we had enough that I could restore the drive where they were and get that data off of it. But yeah, that was, I think it was because it was Cinco de Mayo, right? Is that when it died? It was on Cinco de Mayo. It was a Friday off because I worked that day. I worked like 18 hours. I went home. I got a couple hours of sleep. I came in at like at 1 or 2 in the morning the next morning. And then we were on 12-hour rotations through the weekend. And I think by that following Monday, we had 90% of our systems back in service. Right. It does need to be tested. And that was actually where the project had gone, is we had the standardization, we had the documentation, we had the tools, and I had started the testing of restoration of systems, and I had done some of them. So I had the experience. The new administrator hadn't yet, because we were kind of in this transition period. And one of the things that we were trying to do was we had just bought this new storage system, and we were trying to stand up the old one in our test environment. Excuse me. So we had a legitimate test platform to use, the old servers, the old SAN, so we could just play with it. And that system was very old, and the process of moving it had wiped out a bunch of the drives, had damaged them. And they were old spinning drives. The new system was all SSDs, and the old system, like, we shut it down, we let it sit. When it came back up, it wasn't there. So we were kind of in this like transition of trying to decide whether we were going to spend the money on old drives on an old system or buy new hardware. So it was a weird time. It was like one of those, the moment where all the holes in the Swiss cheese lined up and you could shoot right through it, right? But we're in a much better place now. The lessons that we learned from that, we definitely shared it with the rest of our colleagues and made sure that they knew, right? Don't take anything for granted. So, yeah, that was what do they call it? Trial by fire. And probably the best story out of this whole thing is, so this thing was dying. My supervisor was losing his mind because it was a system. It was his baby before he became supervisor. It was dying or was dead. And I come out of training. I walk in. I talk to him a little bit. I figure out kind of like what's going on. I go back to my desk. I typed up a letter of resignation and I slid it onto my boss's desk. Randy. I said, Randy, here's my disaster recovery plan. And I slid it across and it said, to whom it may concern. I had like a template, something about like, this is my 2-week notice. I'm going to take 2 weeks vacation. Best of luck to you in your endeavors. And I slid it to the desk and he picked it up. He read it. He took it. He tore it to pieces. He threw it in the trash and he says, you can go to hell. Now go help me fix my problem. Oh God, it was fantastic. And then afterwards he's like, I hate it. He's like, that was probably the worst part of it. Yeah, I know, right? It was nuts. And even like when we were talking to the IBM guys at the time, like they were just as like stumped and frustrated. And the guy that we worked on that was part of the development team, I mean, he was taking it personally. Like we're going through this root cause analysis and we're asking him all these questions, and you could tell like he hated it. Like he's like, this is a thing I built, it's supposed to be flawless, and it has a significant critical flaw. And he's like, and I can't figure out what it is. And it is frustrating because it is. And I think what we kind of figured out, it was probably a hardware problem, not so much a software problem. Like whoever manufactured those cards had something that was, you know, some kind of corrupt, a bad piece of memory or a bad flash drive on it or something. But yeah, it was nuts. And it was hard because it's like, it was expensive. I mean, to say we spent $100,000 on that piece of hardware and then threw it away in a year and a half is just insane. Right. Yeah. It was some kind of flaw that we couldn't see and we couldn't recreate. And it was a hard thing. We had a lot of tough discussions about, you know, continuing to use that hardware. And actually it was funny because from the tech side and even up through our CIO, who at the time he was kind of a waste of space, you know, we're the seventh utility or seventh customer who's ever seen this ever of this hardware. And the hardware had been out for about 4 or 5 years, maybe, when we had gotten it. And we're like, so the chances are we'll never, I would say our current CIO isn't so much a waste of space. I've had the opportunity to work pretty close with her recently with my I've been promoted to be an architect, and so I get to spend quite a bit of time working with her, and she is definitely the most engaged CIO I've ever worked with and worked for, especially because she doesn't have much of a tech background. She's managed tech in the past, but her technical experience is she worked as a call center for Gateway, Dell, one of the big computer companies, several, you know, a long time ago. And she has a very, above the actual word, most decision makers are superfluous. Yeah, that's true. But she is definitely, I don't even know that she's intense, for one thing. I've never met a person that can be having a conversation with you and typing full sentence notes on her computer at the same time, like typing while talking and listening, and doesn't forget a thing. I mean, it's impressive, and I've been very impressed with her. And she is helping drive our organization into the modern age of technology, and because we are behind. Power companies are always behind because we're a very conservative organization. But we are definitely getting to a point where, you know, she's driving us to head the right direction and making sure that we're doing things that that makes sense, I guess, is a way to look at it. And so I've been pretty impressed with her. I mean, yeah, right. On a day-to-day basis, she has no impact on my day-to-day life, other than a lot of times I sit with meetings that take up most of my day-to-day. Yeah, most decision makers, yeah, and that really is. But she is definitely driving the strategic end of things, which in my new role is very much my day-to-day is becoming that strategic work. So I guess maybe that's the difference. Is she's is my day-to-day is directly impacted by what our CIO says and does. But I don't know. You're right. I do find that sometimes senior management is definitely not the most of helpful things. They are helpful to get in the way. If you use them that way, they're great. Let's see. What was I? Okay, I got my dude. Oh, look at that. It opens up in a different thing. Okay, so I need to go back to my player. I need to create a movement script for him. I haven't done that. Here. At least you're in a tech area that's resistant to trends. Absolutely. Excuse me, for good and bad. I see that as being definitely both good and bad, because it is very easy to say, oh, well, that's too new for us, we won't do it. But on that same note, we recently, not anything I work on directly, but I'm somewhat excited that it's happened. We had a project come through and finished, and we had to take on owning and using a Kubernetes cluster. So containerization, all of that. And I have been trying to get that for years to get it to be something that we can use. And I've been trying to get it set up and get some people familiar with it, you know, encouraging training and going to training and giving presentations. Well, now all of a sudden we have to have it. And so now they're like, oh, well, this is kind of neat. And I'm like, yeah, it's great. It makes life so much easier for the developer, you know, to like spin up test environments and automating it. So it's good and bad. It is good because then, like, if something new and super trendy, like flash in the pan type thing comes in, we don't jump on board. 2021 hype, not enough tech engineers in the job market, layoffs in the tens of thousands. Yeah, and that's what happens on a lot of this, like, what it is. It's like flash in the pan trends is you've got to be careful, and you know, everyone, and it's hard to go all in on a specific tech. And I always like coach younger people that are in tech to don't just focus on one thing. Don't become awesome at COBOL programming, right? Like, that's a great example. Because COBOL was the programming language for a long time in science and you know, industrial stuff. It was cool. It was fast. It was, you know, it worked well. There was hundreds and hundreds of developers. I mean, this is back in the 70s. And it's like, and then the guy who developed Fortran came out with Fortran, and it was better than COBOL in almost everything that it did for its market. And in the course of a couple of years, COBOL was basically out of a market. It wasn't a thing anymore. And so it's like, you gotta be aware of that. Is sometimes, right, banking still relies on COBOL. Oh, I work at a nuclear power plant. Fortran all the way. I mean, Fortran 77 is what runs some of our data acquisition systems, and there are some, but it went from a mainstream system to a niche market pretty quick. In college, I had the opportunity I had a professor who met the developer of Fortran and became a Fortran developer when it was created. His story was pretty cool. He had gone to the rules of never change a running system. Yep, right. It's very much that. But yeah, my professor had failed to get a job as a COBOL developer, and as he was leaving, he happened to run into the guy that had developed Fortran, and they had got to talking. He says, hey, check this out. And he like showed him Fortran. He's like, oh, this is neat. And it was just something new. And so it's that same thing, right? It's like, you know, you get something that's really cool, and it's like, oh, this is neat. We're going to get all these developers to do it. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, something better has come out. Now all these things that already have this tool, we don't need 10,000 developers. We need like 500. So it's like, oh, we're just going to lay off everybody else. And it's like, well, you got to always be aware that could happen at a moment's notice. Like Apple, right? When Apple was falling off the market, being an Apple developer, writing things for Apple was terrible. And then all of a sudden Steve Jobs comes back in, and they start, you know, ramping up Apple. Microsoft invested a bunch of money in them, right, for the monopoly laws. And now, you know, Apple laptops they're pretty good. I mean, if you can get past some of the design choices that Apple made with their systems, they're pretty good machines. They're rock solid. They work, and they work well at what they do. And you pay a lot for them, but you know, my wife's got her MacBook that I bought her in 2012. She still uses it, and she still uses it for most of her day-to-day stuff. So I mean, it's good hardware. But you know, in the early 90s, mid 90s, when Apple looked like it was going the way of DEC computing and, you know, HP or Hewlett Packard, right? It's like it's gonna be a thing. And yeah, the never change our running system. We had VAX 4000 100s running up until about 2 years ago at the plant, and we were almost to the point of those systems not being able to run anymore because there's no parts left anywhere in the world. It's not good. It was a stressful time because we were having hard drives fail, power supplies fail, the things that have moving parts. And I remember being in meetings. We were in a meeting where they said, hey, we need to do some work on a thing. I don't remember what the deals were. It's like, but in order to do it, we're going to have to fail over to the backup system and shut down the primary system because we need to take off power. They're all in the same bus. We need to turn bus power off. And I remember sitting there with the old timer, you know, the 75-year-old that's been maintaining that system forever. And he's like, okay, do it. And his replacement and some of the other people, I'm like, hey, the last 2 times we've shut one of these old systems off, they didn't come back on. We had 3 hard drives fail and 2 power supplies, and we don't have spare parts, do we? And like, so what happens when we shut it off and it doesn't come back on? Like, this is plant equipment. It needs to operate, and we need to have the redundancy available. Like, can we take the risk of shutting off the system, removing power, and spinning down the drives that are only functional because they're still spinning? Like, it was a weird place to be, and I hated being that guy, right? Sitting in a meeting saying, no, I don't care how important this work seems to you. You can't shut it down. It has to stay functional. It has its lots of old tech languages, 10,000 to 100,000 lines of code. New tech, millions of lines of code, much more bug prone. Yep, absolutely. And not saying the old systems are bug free, but you know, you're right. The more code you have, the more complicated the system, the more chances are something's going to fail. And I've been trying to push for a long time where I work to, because we're always adverse to like failure, and I am a fan. My philosophy is failures make you better, and if you don't fail, you don't get better. And when you do fail, things are harder. It's harder to figure it out. We just went through. There's a nationwide cybersecurity event that happens every 2 years called GridX. And it's for the power industry to prepare our cybersecurity infrastructure, right? For the potential of a security attack. Right. It makes you better if you learn from it. And the last time we went through that exercise, I gave up and I talked for 45 minutes about this. And I said, hey, here's the problem that we have. We need to understand that every time we've done this exercise, things have just gone well. We've figured it out. We fixed the problems. We prevented the attacks. We repaired the systems. I'm like, what happens if we don't? So I was like, what happens if we get crypto malware and we can't recover from it? That's the steps we need to take this time. Like when it happens, say, oh, we're getting attacked by crypto malware. Be like, oh, and they got our backups. So we can't just restore the systems. What are we going to do? And how are we going to do it? And by the way, myself and the 3 top most senior people in the district are gone. We can't do it. One of us is sick. One of us is out of town. The other one's dead. Yes and no. I also know that there has never been an offensive attack against a nuclear power plant from the government. So he says he hacked power plants. That's a bit of an exaggeration, because that's not what they do. Now, he probably worked for the regulators, and he probably provided cybersecurity expertise. But I know for a fact that we've never had a red team attack a nuclear power facility. But yes, right. It is interesting because I do work with those type of people. I never worked with Thor, because in nuclear power, having the cybersecurity aspect is fairly new. But I have worked with a lot of people very similar that come in and like try to audit it. And I would absolutely have loved to see Thor come in and talk and come to one of our facilities and talk. Yeah, and even then, it's like it's been very hands off. It's all compliance. So I'm sure I would be very interested to see what he did if he could talk about it, because I am very tuned into the cybersecurity stuff, especially for nuclear power. I helped develop our cybersecurity plan at the facility I work at, and I would absolutely just like to know what he helped develop. And honestly, I think it would be so worth the money for them to hire him in and come and do some of our cybersecurity audits, because we work in such an environment, and the things he talks about all the time make so much sense. But we get our regulator, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, comes in and they inspect our cybersecurity plans related to technology that have direct impact to nuclear safety, which is protecting the core, making sure there's no radiation leaks, that kind of stuff. And because of that, the rules are so extreme, physically isolated, no network connectivity to the internet. We don't allow undocumented, untrusted flash drives connect to any of the devices. We have multiple layers of defense. We have all of this kind of stuff. And what happens is we'll have an isolated system with a firewall, and we'll have they hire these third-party contractors to come in and they say, well, when did you update your patterns for your firewall for the intrusion detection side of it? And we look at them and we go, never, because we don't use that tool on the firewall. And then we go down this path of like, well, why don't you? How do you know if someone's breaking into your network? And we're like, because it's isolated, physically isolated. Like, I can walk into the room and I can put my hand around the boundaries and touch them because they're physical barriers. And they don't. I'm trying not to talk bad about them, but they are security experts for data centers, right? Where you have multiple tenants, all of this networking, and they all go out to the world, and that's the nature of it. It's like once you get inside our protected networks, they are physical and they're small. I mean, our biggest network has 25 devices on it, and they all reside in like 3 rooms. So it's like we have tight controls on them at the device level. But updating patterns, we don't update the patterns because we don't update the network. Like, we have Windows machines that haven't been patched in 2.5 years because they don't need to be. I mean, yes, if something got on the network, it would be bad. Sort of. Because some of the devices are on a network and they can't talk to each other. They are blocked at the network level, you know? Firewalls on the local machines, non-routable networks, that kind of stuff. And then they come back and they're like, yeah, you probably should turn on that intrusion detection system and update that pattern at least once a week. Like, oh, in addition to the passwords we have to change every 31 days and the log reviews we do every 7 days, and in our security controls we put around flash drives, which are physical port blockers, and we scan the flash drives with 7 antivirus engines, and we control them in a locked cabinet, and they can only touch authorized devices per network, per device. And now we're gonna update what do I call it? Intrusion detection patterns every 7 days. This is insanity. Like, we are wasting time doing nothing important. and so somebody like Thor from Pirate Software would be fantastic because he's more pragmatic. Like, and that's how it is. Like, we have a control that says you're gonna do this. It's like, oh, and it's like, here we go. Now we have alternate controls that meet it. Right, hard disk drives to spin up frequencies and transmit data. Oh yeah, absolutely, that's a thing. But also, all of our computer systems are protected by a security force that's like a private army. So, you know, in order for those things to get out, they have to go through 10 different security doors that are badge accessed, past the security officers, through the concrete buildings with lead-lined walls. Like, I mean, I get it. I understand that there's the potential, but also none of the data that we have up there, if you exfiltrate it, none of it's important. It means nothing to anybody. You know, And right, yeah, they do things where you can spin the drives at different things. You can make the drive. I've seen the ones where they make the lights blink in Morse code or binary, right? And it's just there's always the potential, and I'm a very practical person, and it's like in the end, at the end of the day, unless they can send data into the network that's going to cause our systems to not operate, I don't care. Like, I have no problem. I'll send you the data if you want it. I'll send you the network diagrams. I'll send you the IP addresses. Right. It's like somebody might be interested, and it's like, and even then, it's like some of that data, probably the most interesting data that we have on our isolated systems would be the amount of water that flows through our intake structure. The flow rates and the temperature. You could probably glean some interesting information out of that, just on flow and temperature, inlet temperature and outlet temperature. You can figure out how much power we're generating. And you could probably even figure out like if we have equipment that's failing, you know, based on that flow. But so I always struggle when we get in those conversations. Like, I understand the rules and the potential, and that is a legitimate thing. But like I said, the hard drive frequency thing is a great example. Like, oh, right, that's a thing. You're right. That's something we should be concerned about. However, I'm going to take credit for my security force, the badged and controlled access, and the lead concrete building that those computers are in. So if they can get in close enough to do that and get the data, and you can prove it, then we'll take another alternative control to prevent it again, to do something else. So yeah, I'm trying to say I sound more combative now than we're actually having an auditor there, because it's very intense when the NRC's there, because they can lay heavy fines on us. And that's where, like I said, I'd love to have someone like Thor in that room to be part of that conversation, because when we're sitting there talking about it in our layers of defense, it would help the system, because, you know, the auditors are looking, the NRC, you know, typically they're not tech people. They're normally nuclear people. They understand nuclear things, and they're looking at a document that says the rules. Here's the rules that we've come by. And some of it is legitimately like, here's what we said we're going to do, and we're not doing it. That's wrong. And I get that. Right. And kind of, yeah. Kid in a bedroom using Kali Linux with some pen test scripts. Yeah, absolutely. And there is some legitimate things that we protect against. And the problem is they're never flashy like that, right? That's a flashy thing. Like, we're protecting from this kid sitting in his bed running a thing. It's like, well, yeah, but we're naturally doing that anyway. That's not a thing we're actively doing. But yeah, it is a definitely, like I said, I kind of coming back to having Thor there, or somebody like that with that kind of practical experience, I think would be cool. And I would honestly, I've always wanted to know like legitimate details of what he did, because he probably helped develop the rules that we use for our cybersecurity program. Oh, right, the recession thing. Yes, that kind of stuff is the legitimate scare, right? Because let's see, recession, is that the back door in the, no wait, which one's that one? That was weird. Now I've got two of them. That's not the one I was thinking of. I want to say vulnerability. Is that what it is? Recession? A race condition. Yeah, I'm trying to remember which one that one is. I was thinking of the libz one. It was the compression algorithm. I can't remember what that one was called. The LZ XZ. Thank you, XZ. That's the one that I was thinking of. Like, that's the one that scares me. You know, the XZ backdoor, right? Like, you know, that was a long game compromise, and those are the ones that are really terrifying, because it's like, oh, we caught it, that's great, but I'm like, but how many others are out there? And it really comes down to the open source maintainers. Like in this case, you know, the guy was suffering from severe burnout. This organization. Yeah, right. And it was super elaborate, and it was dumb luck that caught it. And it was a problem. Now, like, and we talked about this one pretty extensively at work for our cyber stuff. We don't have a lot of stuff that, most of our environments are Windows, so this wasn't really impacted us too much. But the discussions came up, like, what could this do to us? Like, well, on our isolated systems, they were still pretty safe because they are isolated. There is no way to get back in. Right, absolutely. That's the thing, and it's like, because they don't use the source. And even if it was, I think that this would have been a tough one to catch. Yeah, a basic change. Right. And it could have, and some of it would have been, yeah, absolutely, just catching it from source compile. And you know, like I said, this one was super subtle, and it was definitely state acted. And it's hard to speculate, like, how do you fix it, right? I've thought about this one pretty extensively, like, how would we prevent this from getting into, you know, something that could literally put its tentacles everywhere. And if they played it safe, very long play, it could be devastating, right? And I'm not even thinking like attacking an individual or a company. I always think about like the BGP routers on the internet, right? You know, like the big iron DNS systems, you know, the ones that basically keep the internet running. Like, what happens if something gets into those and that gives somebody the opportunity to flip a switch and shut them all down? Like, what would that do? The disruption, just the sheer disruption would be potentially very catastrophic. And the blowback and the repercussions of that, even if it's just disabling them for a period of time, not even like compromising security keys or something like that, just instilling the thought that they could be untrusted, right? Just the trust aspect alone would be the most damaging. I mean, I couldn't even imagine, like I said, oh, the routers that make the internet run have been compromised, all of them. And now what? Like, now how do we know that the network traffic isn't routing through Russia or China or any other, you know, nation? That United States, probably the United States wants that too, right? They want all that traffic to route through them so they can sniff all that data. And it's like, oh, that's the kind of stuff that makes me nervous all the time. And now, like I said, those types of long game vulnerabilities that are intended to get into the systems slowly, yeah, it makes me nervous. Oh, it's scary, it's so scary. And yeah, changing basic policies and having good quality rigor where necessary is super important. And yeah, and being practical about it too, right? Like, and I don't know how the BGP routers are managed, but you know, having them set up in such a way, like, honestly, if it were me, they wouldn't be all the same operating system. They wouldn't be managed by the same people. They would be, the redundancy would be people and technology. So I know that most of them run some form of BSD, right? Like, wouldn't do that. I'd have something else in the mix just to help make the chances of a single elaborate hack taking everything out, that single point of vulnerability or the single point of failure, right? Oh, anyway, I'm off on a tangent, a rant. I'm ranting. So add a script. Excuse me, man, I am still super phlegmy. So, but yeah, anyway, it is very cool. And what like I said, I'd like to someday talk to Thor about what he did, or figure out what he can talk about. And maybe he did. Maybe they did do hacking of power plants. If they did, I want to get on that team. Because I've actually never been to another nuclear facility. I've worked in the nuclear industry now for almost 20 years, and I've never been to another facility. That seems weird. Yeah, we're gonna hack work. You want to join? We're gonna take them on. Take them on one ancient system at a time. Be physical red team. You don't want to go against our team, our physical team though. What was it the last time? Yeah, right. A successful big hack would never be publicized. Yeah, probably true. But yeah, you don't want to go against our security guys. They are elite. I remember the last time, maybe that's the last time, 2 times ago, when we had the NRC would come in and do physical attacks against our security team. Oh, they wouldn't let you go into the store? Oh, that's lame. That's dumb. Stupid stakes. Actually, no, the stakes aren't stupid, but bummer. But yeah, our security team, when they had another company come in and attack our security force in a mock attack, the regulators call our facility Camp Death, because I don't know if they've ever made it through the fence on an assault on the facility. So when they come here, they plan the assaults, climbing the fences and all that stuff. But then they also have to have separate scenarios that start inside the fence because they've never actually been able to breach the fence in their simulated attacks because our security force is so good. All right, C shop. Excuse me. We'll just make it that way. Scenes player. Trust myself. All right. Yeah, absolutely. You could absolutely go in and do can visit them. I've just never had the opportunity to. I've done some stuff for OPPD, but I never actually went to Fort Calhoun. We did it in Omaha because I went to a cybersecurity inspection. And then I did a cybersecurity inspection, a QA inspection for the one in Washington. I can't remember what it's called. Columbia. I did something for Columbia, but that was all done remote. And I can't remember what. I can't remember why. We were supposed to fly there. I think we were going to fly there, and then we had some conflict at scheduling. And the person that was going to go couldn't go. I think he actually quit. And I couldn't get flights in time, so I just did it all remote on calls. And so I did it remote, so I didn't get a chance to go to Washington and go to Columbia. Yeah, well, he was a butt cheek. I mean, he was a nice guy, and he just did not. That was the supervisor that nobody liked, and it was hard because he left, and then I left to become the network administrator like maybe 6 months later, if even that long. Because I couldn't take it. I tried and I couldn't do it. Okay, let's see. Speed 500. Arbitrary values. Let's see. I'm gonna try to steal some of my other code. Let's see. I need to have. Probably just need to have directional. I don't need to have. Ever work on Linux? I do. I do quite a bit at home. I have numerous Raspberry Pis, and like I got one here. I have like 7 Raspberry Pis. I have several Linux servers. My Minecraft server, yeah, my Minecraft server is Linux. And we have a couple of Linux machines at work. Linux, the Z editor. What is the Z editor? Why does that sound so familiar? Z, code at the speed of thought. Oh, okay. I kind of remember this. I haven't used it in... I don't know if I've ever used it seriously. Yeah, who was I talking to? I was talking to somebody that used it quite a bit. Every time keeps by generating code with AI. Yeah, the AI and the code. That's where I kind of... So earlier, I was talking about... I think I'm going to take like maybe like a night a week, and I'm going to try to build something where AI does all the coding, and I just try to tell it how to do it without tweaking it as a demonstration on what AI can and can't do. I just think that would be very interesting. It's getting better, especially with like Copilot and stuff, and maybe I'll try to do it all in Copilot. That would be kind of cool. And see how it works. Right, Hello World and Fortran, right? Yeah, I used it when I was on, was it one of the early release alphas for Copilot? And I used it for some cool stuff, but I love it, and I love AI this for the what I'm gonna call the grunt work programming stuff, like the stuff that is like, I know how to do it, but I use file writing. Like, I'm gonna write to a text file, read and write from a text file. It's like when I write it, like I always end up, you can easily introduce an error, or you don't get good error checking put into it. It's like, if I do it with an AI, say, have it read and write these values from a file, it speeds up the development so much that it is awesome. But I want it to go like full on, and yeah, like you said, like write a program and to come up with like, and I think it'd be interesting because it also would be a good thought game. Like, how can because I can't just tell AI, be like, hey, I want you to write a video game that's like this, because it can't do it, right? But I could have it do small bits. Like, let's start by having it create a UI in something, and it could, like, it would be cool. Like, maybe it is Fortran. Like, hey, write a Fortran program to build a video game with extra jiggle features. Yeah, I need you to animate these water balloons so they jiggle. It's still hallucinates a lot to be used for extensive program. Absolutely. And I've always said that AI is great for 80% of programming stuff. And that 80% is all the stuff that all programming is, and it's always the same, and it's very concrete, it's very easy to do. It's just time consuming. AI can reduce the time of developer overhead to do certain things that we do all the time that was more error prone, simple things, or like write insert statements for databases, write me complex stuff like that. But once you get to like, I need to create a join of these 6 tables to create a data set view, AI has a hard time with that. But using it, like using Copilot to say, hey, here's the data set I have. It's 3 lists of data. I need to loop through them all and figure out which ones have matching values or something like that. Something simple. You could easily pop that into Copilot. It'll write up some code and it's done. It's like, all right, now I can move on. Writing a function to do that. I think it's awesome for that kind of stuff. Oh, yeah. You're a Rust guy. Yeah. No, actually, I think that's really cool that it's written in Rust. Rust is a programming language I've used it a couple times, and both Rust and Go, I think those are both very fascinating programming languages that are very specialized in certain things that I want to be able to get good at for different things, and I just need to do it. Oh, zombies and Rust. Oh, that's fantastic. Yes. Well, same thing. Just same thing. Zombies writing code like real zombies. See, I do. This is what I remember. This is Zed has Vim mode. I really like that. I think they were made in C#. But yeah, virtual office software and Teams. Yeah. Yeah, this is pretty cool. I'm gonna have to keep this on my radar because I remember it, but I didn't spend a lot of time looking into it. So this virtual, like these virtual offices and softwares, how do they connect? This makes it easy to have a nuanced real-time conversation. Like, how do these channels work? Can I like tie them back to something? Or are they all baked into the thing? Oh, so it's somehow it's ties into GitHub. Okay, it's like as long as it has some kind of backend that's not tied to this would be awesome. Like, I would love to see it. Like, they'll let me plug in like Microsoft Teams or Discord or GitHub discussions or anything like that. I think that would be cool. Or what is it? What's the Gitter? Right, that would be a good one too. Slack. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Working on code on a machine. Yeah, and it's still new. I have a GitHub account. I have one or two. Actually, I only have one. I only have one GitHub account. Yeah, that would be cool because if we could like tie it into like Discord and Teams, I think in work it would be awesome if it was Teams where you could like have chat that's tied into it. That would be pretty sweet. Not that I get to spend a lot of time coding at work anymore, because most of the time I spend having meetings. But oh yeah, having Discord at work. Yeah, but then you wouldn't get any work done. Well, actually, that's probably not true. I wish we could have Discord because Discord lets multiple people share their screen at the same time. And when you're doing some like, I don't want to use pair programming because I hate that. I hate that term. But like if you're helping somebody or working through a problem, if you both have your screen shared at the same time, I think that it's helpful. I've put that feature request into Teams all the time. Like I want to have two people share their screen. So I can be showing something and the person's working on something can show something. Right. And it's like, if I could do pairs, like multiple screens, like my screen, a remote user screen, or even another person's screen, so we're all like looking at what's happening, that would be perfect. And that's where I can see Discord has a huge leg up on a lot of people, is that multiple screen share, the streaming aspect of it, right? It's kind of nice because then it's like, I'm thinking like this game jam I'm going to participate in. Like if I got a couple of the people that wanted to participate, like we could get into Discord, everybody share their screen and everybody could be doing something very different. And I could just look over and be like, oh, hey, Bobby's making sound effects for the game. I can see that he's going into the thing, right? And making music, right? It's like, and I could see him doing that. And we could like look at what he's doing and just look at his screen, hear his sound and all that kind of stuff. I think it would be cool. I think it'd be good for normal day-to-day stuff. They make sound effects, lots of farting. The fart sounds. So much farting. The farts. So many farts. All right, so what was I doing? Oh, that's right. I need to make him move, don't I? What was I gonna? How was I gonna do that? Oh, I was stealing code because here's the code I wrote for another one. But it's very different code. Oh, go away. HR wants to know why you have a charge for $257 for Bush's baked beans. Ooh. I mean, I like baked beans, but that's a lot of baked beans. Let's see, move direction. spid. Kill sound fart, drop sound fart, game lose green fart. It'd just be a different kind of fart, right? Give them all really cool names. I used to have like a fart soundboard that had all these different names, and it was like, I can't remember what they were. I remember there was one that was called The Long-Winded Road, and it was like a 3.5 minute fart. It was the little kid in me. Every time it would start playing, I'd just giggle like a little girl, and it was awesome. Like, I loved it. I used to have it at work, and I used to leave voicemails for people in the office, and it would just be this like 3-minute fart sound. It was pretty awesome. Yeah, they will. Farts are always funny. It's really hard having kids that are at that age where they just fart and laugh all the time. And I'm trying to like tell them like, hey, you know what? Putting your butt up against the wall to make the fart have a weird sound, while hilarious, is not appropriate at the department store. And it's hard to have that discussion when I'm laughing right along with them. Like, God damn it, don't make the thing loose. Yeah. It's like, God. We could call it Rootin' Tootin'. Oh God, let's see, Rootin' Tootin', and then I want to say Flatus, but yeah, Rootin' Tootin' Flatus. That could be the game name. Process. Oops. All right, so we're gonna move. Get vector. Left. Oops. Right. And did I call it jump? I think is what I called it. There is no argument that corresponds to the y parameter positive y. Oh, you're right. It does, doesn't it? Left, right, up, and down. Can I just do that? Make it happy? No, I can't. Oh, that's right, because this will just top down. This one I want it to be just left and right, so. Input vector by specifying 4 actions for the positive and negative x and y directions. This method is useful when getting vector input, such as from a joystick, directional pad, arrows, WASD. By default, the dead zone. Yeah, get axis. That's probably what I want, because I want it to be get axis. Oh my God, YGHJ. Ugh. Oh my God. You have fucked up mind. That's all I have to say. I like it. It could be, what is it? A random rules for the game where, and this is something we always came up with. Like, I decided that when they announced the football playoffs, right, when it was just 4 teams, I'm like, well, this is stupid. If we're only gonna have 4 teams in the playoff, let's make it interesting and have the teams meet. Yeah, not even familiar with him. And everybody has to draw a rule, and that's the rule they have to play by for the game, right? Like, you know, it's a nighttime game, play with the lights off, or play with sunglasses on, or something stupid. Have that be in the game where one of the rules might be that the movement keys are shifted over to the other side, or inverted, or something like that. That could be a twist that makes the game a little bit more fun. I like it. Oh, what was I doing? Oh, that's right. I was looking at get axis. What is get axis? Negative and positive. This is shorthand for writing get action strength. Oh, ouch. Because get vector, it returns the vector. So what is that what this is returning to? It's a float. Yeah, that's probably all right, because it would be positive and negative, and I could just convert it to Oh, can't run normalize on. Oh, because it's a vector. Let's go here. Oh man, I need to go do more laundry so I can start getting ready to pack. I don't want to do that. What am I doing? I don't even know. I don't want to pack. Something similar to Alt F4. That could be fun. Yeah, leave on Sunday. I'm hoping that I can have most of my stuff packed today. Just because otherwise I'm going to wait till the absolute last minute and it'll be 4 o'clock Sunday morning and be like, oh my God, I don't have any underwear packed. Like I'm throwing shit in the suitcase and yeah, bummer. Looking forward to some good old Nolans food, but I do dread the having to go there. Single backpack it, do it. I'm taking my travel suitcase in a backpack. I'm trying to decide if I still don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna take my CPAP or not. We'll see. I don't know. If I don't, I might be able to get away with no, my backpack's not big enough to put all my clothes in it. I don't have a good, I used to have like a perfect little gym duffel bag that was bigger than most backpacks, but smaller than most carry-on suitcases that I could still pack like 6 days worth of clothes in it. But it ripped in half after vacation one year and I've never replaced it. So I'll have my little travel suitcase and my backpack with my laptop in it, my lappy. I'm really contemplating like not bringing my work laptop and bringing my personal one. But then I'd have to get my work laptop to work. So if I needed to connect to it, I could. And yeah, I'm not going to do that. Yeah, I doubt we're going to need our laptops for anything substantial. I mean, nothing's going to break. And if it does, they're not going to pester us about it. I don't think it's going to be a big deal. I could just give it to Matt, but then I got to have my laptop ready to go. And my personal laptop's it is a potato. So, maybe I'll think about it. I might do that. Or maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just take both. I'll take both. I'll take both my laptops. I've done that numerous times. I've taken a MacBook with me, so I can like FaceTime with the family and stuff using the computer. Let's see. What am I doing? She'll stay to the pie dryer until it dies. Yeah. Oh, I have an update to AdGuard. I haven't updated it in a while. I thought I was having a problem with it, and oh, I should show you this. This will be good information for you, Bobby. I was having a website that was giving me ads the other day, and it was pissing me off. And I'm like, why isn't AdGuard stopping this? And I figured something out. If you know your password to log into AdGuard, you can go to cardgames.io. Okay, let's try it. It was an IO game. I was playing. Hi, Bill. Golf. I like golf. Nope. Oh, it lets me go that way. Yes. Okay, I can show you how to fix this. So I figured this out the other day because I had one that didn't. If you go to settings and you go to, or maybe it's filters. Let's go to here now. I thought I had a menu. DNS settings. Okay, so it is under filters. DNS block lists. So here's all of the block lists that I have enabled. And you can click this check for updates button. And it updates. Those lists aren't dynamic. They are static. And when I clicked it, I had like 500 new sites added to my list. Yeah, at that time it added 5 lists were updated. So it added them. And now, and I did that, ads were gone. And I was like, yes. So, perfect. And yeah, no ads. Okay, I like this. I could probably stay here and play this all day. 6. Boop. Nope, nope. 10, 9, 10. I did try Pi-hole. The problem I had with Pi-hole was the bandwidth. I have a pretty substantial bandwidth at my house, and the Pi was not handling it well. But that was quite a while ago with, was it a Raspberry Pi 2? Maybe. I had some significant like latency type issues with my Pi-hole. So that's when I switched to AdGuard, and AdGuard it works really great. I mean, it is like, oh yeah, there's a new version, but it's just got, I don't know, I like it. Trying to think of what it was. Yeah, like I love going here and just looking to see all the crap that it's blocking. It's pretty cool. My wife hates it because she plays mobile games and she can't get the ads to get like bonus crap because I block it all. Yeah, but even then, you don't need to remember your login most of the time until you need to do the update. So then that's a thing. All right, I'm gonna finish this game. I'm gonna win this game. 3, 2, 1, 2. It must be a problem on her end. Yeah, I did that for a little while. I'm like, oh, that's weird. I don't know. I mean, most people wouldn't complain that they, can't get the ads. Most people are happy about this, so you should just be happy about it. 7, 8, 7, 6. I committed to going down. All right, here we go. Did it! Yay! I win! All right, cardgames.io is definitely going to go on my to play frequently because I love card games. I'll put this over here. Put it on my tab of tabs. Right, close out. I was going to click the update button. That would have been bad. That would have ended the stream pretty damn quickly. Actually, I think it would have been fine. Ooh, we played each other. There's multiplayer. Oh, I used to have a game for PC that was a card games thing like that. It had like 60 or 70 different card games, and I remember playing Cribbage, and it was funny because it had computer players and they all had names and they all had voices and they would talk to you. And there was one guy that I always liked to play with because he didn't talk a lot because I didn't like the sound. But every time he talked to you, man, all he would do is talk trash. And it was like fantastic. I mean, terrible because I was like, Jesus Christ, Bob, stop talking. But it was always like just talking, just significant trash on you. And it was hilarious. I loved it. Used to play the crap out of it. And I remember, yeah, it was like, oh, looks like you're gonna lose again. And he slaps down a card. And of course I'd lose. And I'd be like, you fucking turd. I hate you. Okay, so get access. What is this number? It's a float, but it's probably not. Gets access input by specifying 2 actions, 1 negative and 1 positive. So I wonder what that is. Okay, how do I print? Because I don't remember. GD.print. Let's see what that does. GD.print. We'll say move. Can I do this? Is your username your email? That's a good question. I don't know. Let's check and see what I've got. Yes, blank page has crap. Add guard. No, it's 192.168.1. It might not be an email. Oh, I'm already signed in. I'm like, I don't know. I didn't see it. Let's see here. Mine is not my email. Mine is just a username. So yeah, not an email, just a thingy. I don't think you can. I don't think it'll lock out. I think you're fine. I think. If not, we'll. There's probably a way to figure it out. Okay, so it is just 0 and 1. Awesome. Awesome sauce. All right, let's go back to my code. Not to my email. Ah, Jesus. Yeah, don't do that. I don't want to deal with that today. Okay, so I've got the move direction there. I can take that out. Actually, no. I just want to comment it out because, you know, bad at coding. So we are going to, I say velocity because it's a 2D object, so I can just say velocity is equal to move direction times speed. And then I'll say move and slide. Okay, so, oh, it's not a vector because it's not a vector. It's not a vector. No vectors. So I need to say vector 2, vector. Ooh, look at that typing. I'm about to the end of my thing. New vector 2. Move vector. Oh, it doesn't like that, does it? What? Whoa. Aye. It's assigned, but its value is never used. Oh, yeah, move vector. What the hell? What in the hell? Is equal to what is that property? Move direction. Now I'll change this to be move vector. There we go. Now she'll work. Watch me like zoom off the screen. Woo! Look at that. I'm moving. I'm moving, Mom. You just can't tell. All right. We've got movement left and right. Now let's implement jump. So. Uh-oh. Oh, my vacuum cleaned successfully without issue. That's 2 days in a row. I should keep a metric on that. Let's see. So now I want to implement jump. How do I... What's the way that I did this before? So I figure out if shooting is action press. So that's what I want to look for. So you got your pocket Slim Jim and a MacBook. So here I'm gonna say just for testing, I'm gonna say if input dot is action pressed jump. Then if it is, then move direction, no, move vector dot y is equal to 1. Let's see what that does. I'm gonna have to do something better because I gotta get like gravity and all that stuff working. That may not have been the right action. Yeah, keep it all lowercase. Keep it all in the lowers. Yeah, okay, so it is working. It's sending me down, but it needs to go the other direction. Because negative y is up. Oh, ouch. All right. We'll say 100. We'll say 100. Just because I want to see it advance. Oh yeah, it jumps. It jumps. It doesn't transition smoothly, which is fine. Still in the beginning stages. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Because velocity is a vector 2. Oh, so the game jam. This is from that Pirate Software. He has a jam where you're on Wednesday. He's going to release the details, like the theme, and then we'll have until the 31st to submit a prototype and get it judged. For prizes, $100 in the Steam upload. You get a thing you can put on your game, a laurel. And then, yep, just a shout out. It's just a fun thing. I don't know what it's all about yet, so that's kind of why I just kind of picked the 2D platform to practice with while I'm waiting. And we'll see. I decided I'm just gonna do it and see what I can come up with, or at least try to. Yep, I think it'll be kind of cool. If you want to be in, we could join a team. I don't know how teams work. I don't know how teams work in itch.io. Just got to remember to don't be a dumbass. That's gonna be a problem for me. But yep, this is my next 2-week thing that I'm gonna try to work on. So that's why I'm building. Oops, trying to build this just to have some practice. You can code a mean hello world. Hey, you know what? There's more to game building than just write and code. There's definitely design ideas and sound effects. If you want to do it, man, I'd let you. We can come up with some mean shit. Oh, do you want to be a surveyor for MPPD? They have a surveyor 1, 2, or 3 available. Yeah, absolutely, man. All right, let's go figure out how do you do a team? No teams. You've joined the jam. Come to this page after the jam starts to submit your project. Leave jam. Okay, no. Create a team. You can host a jam. Maybe you don't have to do anything. Maybe are you a developer? Upload your first game. Maybe I just join and that's it. And you can just be on the team. Wonder how that works. Oops, I didn't want to do that. That's what I wanted. All right. Anyway, you're in. I'll send you some stuffs. I'll post it in Discord. Post like the design document because we got to have this thing filled out. Which talks about the game and the mechanics and stuff like that. And then I can send you links to like this page. This is Deep Voice Man stuff. Oh, look at this. That's cool. I want that. He's still streaming. And it's got a lot of content, a lot of things about like programs to use, freebies and stuff like that. So they got some cool stuff there. Let's see. Back to my game. That's not what I want. I want the code. I want the code. Come up with a sweet idea and then just listen to the hooligans throw ideas at us. Yeah, I think so. I think that's the hardest part is coming up with a solid idea that's unique, right? Because basically it doesn't have to be super playable. It has to work. That's the kind of goal. It has to have a playable demo, and then it's just got to be essentially unique. I mean, there's 8,000 people in this thing, so whatever uniqueness we can throw at it to make the game interesting, that's what gets you recognized, right? That's what I'm shooting for. That's why I like the idea of like the keys, like the input shift thing. That's kind of that's an interesting gameplay where it's like you could hit something that changes it. And now not only are you doing like a 2D platform where you got to jump around, but all of a sudden the jump key is now F4 and move left is Alt, but you can't test them both at the same time because you could quit the game, right? That's like weird things like that, like things that will piss off players. Let's see. So move direction. Maybe it is like that. Oh, I know how to do this. I know how to do this and make it look cool. I'm going to put here, I'm going to add a timer. And this timer is going to 2 seconds, 1 second. We'll try 1 second. And then let's see, is Vim used in Linux for text editor? I have to update the hash for my AdGuard password. Vim and Nano. Nano is going to be a lot easier because Vim is like very keyboard jockey. Nano, you can use your arrow keys to navigate around and no special keys. So like SSH. I typed it wrong. Oh no, that password's not root. Never mind. Or my username's not root. So Vim, let's see, I have Vim. MySQL all users. You know, it's a lot of keyboard jockeying around. I can't use the arrow keys. You have to hit insert to edit. I'm just gonna quit. But if you go Nano, it uses your arrow keys, and you can just hit Control O to save. So, see all my super secure passwords. Actually, while I'm here, at this point, I'm either thinking, how bad is it really to have ads, or do I want to redo everything? Well, the nice thing is it's not hard to redo, right? It's pretty easy to set up. Because I'm sure resetting AdGuard password can't be that hard, can it? Reset AdGuard home password. Well, let's see. Made the new password, but I have to get it put into some hash in some file. Let's see. Okay, you need to edit the password field in adguardhome.yaml. Right, that's the file you're at. Use this to generate the new password hash. So you come here, you enter your password and say suck it Sasquatch. I can't spell Sasquatch. And then you have to say bcrypt. Oh, well that's not useful. Okay, so edit the password. Okay, all right, let's do this. Let's do it right. All right, so AdGuard home. 1.32. We're gonna do it live. We're gonna see if I can do it for you. Help you out. Shutdown -r now. Sudo. Host Papa is that Canada's answer to GoDaddy? Yeah. All right, so we're gonna SSH. I don't know when the last time was I remoted into this machine, so I can't go to HTTP. I don't know what this is. Hey, buddy. That might not be my password. I don't know what OS I put this on. Clearly that's not right. Oh no, I got in. Woo, look at that. Ooh, heck yeah. All right. System restart is required. Show AdGuard status. System. Oops. All right. Show AdGuard status. All right, so cd etsy system. Actually, I just want to go cat etsy system AdGuard home service. All right, so where is this thing at? It lives in /opt/AdGuard home. So opt AdGuard home add. There's your AdGuard home.yaml. Oh, nope. So there's your password. That's what you need to change right here. That one right there. And then you'll need to do sudo nano. Oh my ZSH. So go back and pwd. It's opt AdGuard home. And then you'll have to run, if you're not root, you'll have to run sudo nano AdGuard home.yaml. What's up, kiddo? So you don't have AdGuard inside of Opt? Wonder why. Let's see. You have Ubuntu, right? You can run this, try running this command, sudo systemctl status adguard home, and see if, because that's how I figured out where my install was. So if you run that, it tells you where the service file is. That's what creates the service. And then you can go look at that. And then I said cat etsy system d system adguard home service. And then it tells me where the adguard home executable is. I can back that up a little bit if you want me to. So start with this one. Systemctl command not found. Well, then that would be, is it then service? Is that the other command? Oh yeah, I guess it should be CTL. Sorry, yeah, CTL, not CT1. I just thought it was a typo on the in chat. You should be able to type system and hit tab, system C and hit tab, and it should complete it for you. Yeah, if there's bad, it should be. If it's a default Ubuntu install, it should have it. It should work. I think I'm going to get done with stream. I think I'm going to apply these updates and reboot this machine and hopefully have my internet all come back. And then hit tab. You don't even have AdGuard on the list. Jumps from account to ALSA. Huh. Well, that's weird. All right. This might be a Discord call thing. Actually, I've been going for almost 3.5 hours, so it's probably a good time to stop anyway until tomorrow. I got kids that are hungry anyway. Do I even have AdGuard? I tell you what, I'll wrap up here and then I'll jump on Discord and see if we can figure it out. Because yeah, it should be a binary. It could just be running in the background, but I would have thought that it would have been a service because I think it's all scripted. That's true. You could try. Yeah, which AdGuard? Which? Where? Maybe that's what's installed. Oh no, because I'm dumb. Systemctl, which AdGuard? Where? Oh, not there. But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna wrap up for this morning. I will be back tomorrow to hopefully do some more work on this before I go to fly to Nolans. So yeah, tomorrow morning we'll come at it again, and maybe I'll try to be a little more focused to get some more done on this platform game. We'll see. Yeah, thanks a lot, Captain Fubar. God, I love that name. I'm sorry. That's awesome. And yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. So take it easy, guys, and I'll see you later. Bye.